Brother to the Night with the new old heads, and this is episode 493. On this episode, we talked about American sociologist Tricia Rose saying that hip-hop now does more harm than good. Prof selling 30,000 physical records and being disqualified from Billboard, and a reaction to a clip suggesting that the NBA might be trying to phase out hip-hop. Yeah. Support the show and get our uncut 2-hour episode without ads by becoming a $5 Patreon member or a YouTube member. Please make sure to click the bell and turn on notifications, and see you in the comments.
Check one, check two. You know what it is. Episode 493 of the New Old Heads podcast. My name is Jay Moore, and I got a few friends with me today, and I'm going to go shout them out and see what's going on with them after a holiday weekend. Jay Diff, how you feeling, fam?
Salutations. I'm all right.
Okay, you're all right? Okay.
You know.
Brother to the Night got on the Last Rabbit t-shirt. I see you.
Yeah. Happy 25th in America.
Okay. Yeah.
Since I came home.
And right next to me is Longevity. How are you doing, sir?
Doing all right, man.
All right.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Is there anything that you guys saw over the weekend or just in the last couple of days that you just kind of want to speak on before we get into the rundown, if you will?
USA got their ass kicked yesterday.
Man, that was disappointing.
Yeah.
Who did they lose to? The Germans?
Belgium.
Yeah.
Waffles.
Yeah, waffles. Waffles beat pancakes.
And the
Fair
thing
enough.
is, they played as bad as you like. There's a couple of those goals. I was like, really, guys?
Yeah,
Really?
just,
And
you
I-
didn't care no more.
Yeah, I mean, and this has just come from me
Oh, did they
playing.
beat their ass?
Yeah, they got
4-1.
their ass kicked.
4-1.
Literally, when we tied it up, within 10 seconds, they were up another one.
Mm.
It was like, okay, and that was it. That was our only goal scored. I'll blame it on Trump.
He was there?
No, I think he jinxed them.
He's like, hey, I know a lot about sports. I'm really good at sports.
Nah, he said something about, because,
He said
old
that.
dude got that red card, so
Yeah.
he wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to play last game.
But he played.
I understand sports really well. Really well.
And he ended up playing, but he also spoke and said, and this is how crazy he is. He said, if the United States loses, then it was rigged, kind of like the election.
Yeah, man.
He can just
I'm so tired of this dude, man.
always make it about himself.
Yeah.
Like-
Wow.
Like, especially on a stage like this, man.
yeah.
We don't
gotta-
condone that.
Yeah, we got washed though.
You see the Belgium team? They were in there doing like the Trump dance, like the.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the dude from Village People died.
Oh,
Yeah.
Trump's favorite artist.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah. that's-
Macho man.
So we never thought hip-hop would make it this far. American sociologist Tricia Rose and American author Mark Anthony Neal discuss whether the older generation of hip-hop could have ever anticipated its current hyper-commercialized state. And in this clip, they say that she says the genre does more harm than good now. So let's watch this and discuss if we agree or not.
If someone had told us 30 years ago that hip hop would be the hegemony,
Oh, I would have said, I would have lost my whole bank account.
We would not have imagined that it would look this way. We would have been
No.
thinking something totally different in that context.
That is so true. I just didn't see the way it was getting at the fundamental kind of infrastructure. There was so much eroding going on
Yeah.
that we just couldn't afford that as much as I thought we could afford. Public Enemy, Native Tongues, Tribe Called Quest. And it's not just old timers. There are people who follow them,
Right.
Andre 3000. There's a lot of people who've done
Talib,
amazing.
Mos Def, yeah.
There's a lot of amazing people along the way, but I think you really have to be honest that the genre is, if you had to think about it holistically, does more harm than good. I honestly think that's where we
Yeah.
are. And that's because the saturation of the market with the normalization of the worst impulses of living
Right.
in this moment, high
Right.
consumption, disrespect of women, implications of violence as a result of responsibility, the acceptance of a kind of masculinity that is untenable except anywhere but on your way to prison, the disrespect for staying in community and caring for others, all of that toxic nonsense that we're now seeing in the White House. Hip hop is too close to that, and we can't afford
Absolutely.
it. We just can't afford it.
That's unfortunate.
So, do we generally agree with this?
No, because this is being stated behind the lens. And
we're not against rap. We're not against rappers, but we are against those thugs.
We're not against rap and we're not against rappers, but
and
we
we're
are
kind of
against
right,
those
though.
thugs. Well, I'm gonna get into that because what's going on is the corporate and capitalistic aspect of hip hop. This is what's being fed to you readily because it's what's making money. The other still exists. It's just not the one at the forefront. And that's the issue. It's what people make popular and what people decide they want to consume.
I don't think it's what people are making popular. It's what we are being fed. You know what I mean? Like when you have labels, like, that's a part of signing a major label deal is you give away some of your creative control.
Yeah, that's
You know
back
what I
to
mean?
the capitalistic corporation type situation.
So you are being told to push some of these narratives. Like, what is it? I don't know if this is true or not, but like it's been rumored for quite a few years now that Future does not do drugs.
Yeah,
but
neither is 50.
Yeah, and they make records about doing drugs.
Sure.
Or selling drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard a story recently about Juice WRLD and Future and how Juice WRLD looked up to Future and they did a song together and Future realized that even at the time when he wasn't doing it anymore.
But you selling it to the people that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it is very detrimental to our image across the world, the image that we are portraying across the world, as well as what it's doing to children.
What do you think, Jay?
I understand where they're coming from because I'm looking at them and I think these are a couple of people pretty close to my age. You know, I've also talked about how at one point I thought that C. Dolores Tucker and Reverend Calvin Butts, I thought they were basically the enemies of young people, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but after having more understanding about the world, the global impact of hip hop, and just how things really work, there's some things that I still disagree with how they, as far as their methods were concerned, and how they kind of pointed and talked down to these to the rappers at the time, but they weren't wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had some valid points. They were just wrapped in, you know,
Rigmarole.
a certain political, because you know you especially with C. Dolores Tucker, and I want to give love to the ancestor, you know, but she would stand up next to people in Washington
Mm-hmm.
and make alliances with people who, you know, do not have any of our best interests at heart. And so that was always disappointing. But, and I've said this on the show probably at least 3 times now, when we talk about it, and I don't even think they were talking about Young Miami song, you know, Spin That. I've said that song is about failure, and we are loudly celebrating failure. And I had never even heard, all I'd heard was the chorus up till this weekend, where I was out somewhere and, you know, it was insisted that it be played in front of people who I know don't know anything about that life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I understand it's a slap. I understand structurally why it works and why it sounds good in the club and why it sounds good to specifically a female audience.
Mm-hmm. It's not just the female.
That's where I'm more disappointed, but that's something else. But that's kind of what we're talking, because it's also how our ethnic image is disseminated through the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Is when, okay, we're going to shout out all the people who are scamming, and essentially, you know, because when you scam, you can think, okay, well, maybe it's just scamming a company or something. But, you know, a lot of times people are scamming each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you wind up scamming and stealing from the people who are closest to you. And so you wind up scamming people in your own community. And
there's a lot of optics behind it.
And then like you wind up taking, you know, whatever ill-gotten gains you had, and you're taking it outside of the community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I understand where, you know, there are people who actually were upset at NDRE, not for saying, she didn't say anything about boycotting the sound and you shouldn't listen to it, but, you know, just talking about the message and its impact.
Certain minds will be influenced by the music that's out. I mean, you can't get around that. But in the same token, with hip hop being so vast and so available and so popular now, it's spread to people that aren't taking it as this is just something to listen to and I'm gone about my day and this doesn't describe me. I'm not trying to pick up anything off of this music to identify with. There are people that are literally listening to the music, all of the music, and that's how they form themselves. They form their identity off of the music because they don't know any better.
Well, you know, and just as a joke, I remember I was talking to somebody about the song, and I said, "Man, the CIA really hit a home run with this one," you know, because I also put on my conspiracy brain to where, like, okay, whoever is posting a TikTok with this song in the background, that's a red flag for law enforcement, because I've already seen this where it was some old woman who and her daughter were out here stealing bags.
I've seen that, and they put that on.
Put that on and the police picked them right on up.
And they had already been in jail previously
for doing the same thing. Yeah. And it's like, police will tell you, if you know anybody in law enforcement, they use social media as a tool.
Yeah, it makes their job a lot easier.
Yeah, and so it's like, okay, now not only is social media a tool, but you've given them another marker to where they'll be like, okay, if they're doing the spin net and that's the song they're using in the background, let's definitely look at this, and so we can pick somebody else up and put them in jail.
So I generally disagree with this because I feel like the music is a reflection of society as opposed, and that's what I subscribe to in general. You know, you make good points about, like, from an individualist basis and how people can use something like as a music as a background to do some stuff. That's always going to exist no matter what we're talking about. But I do kind of reject the idea that in general the genre is what it is. I feel like, from what Terry was saying, I feel like if you look at it under a very specific lens, a capitalistic lens, then which I think you have to, because that's the music that's being pushed by these. That's what sells right now in the particular type of way. But it's being pushed by the machine, and you know, I hold more negative feelings and thoughts towards the machine that is pushing this, as opposed to the artists that are making something that is of their life to some degree, and how they feel, and then it gets broadcast even higher than that.
Mos Def had said something like this a long time ago. It was like, you know, if the music is sick, it's because the people are sick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is a reflection of how people are living, and if they couldn't, even the people who are law-abiding citizens somehow relate to this. You know, whether it be talking about drug dealing or trapping or scamming. So, but also, it's like, hey, man, the drum has made things that you can't relate to so appealing that you can't help but to dance to something that has nothing to do with your life.
Man.
Now, some people, you know, they can relate to it, and you know, sometimes you have to have the wherewithal to realize that some of this music could potentially be sending your children to hell.
Yeah. Let me pose a second question. I'll come to you, Byron. Because it's related to that. So if the market is completely saturated with hyperconsumption and violence and whatnot, must we honestly admit that holistically hip hop does more harm than good?
I'm gonna say popular music as a whole, man. You know,
do you think that hip hop music's popular hip hop specifically is worse than popular other genres?
I think it's all up. Like, and the only reason I think about that is when I think about it's not just hip hop, it's R&B, it is pop music, even country. There was one point in time where love was the driving theme in most of the music that was coming out, and it's now when you listen to the radio, it's a lot of mistrust being put out there. It's on your television shows. People don't talk to their neighbors no more. You know, like frequencies, the shit that, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm going on like an alien type of spiel or whatever, man. Like, but
it's part of the program at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's programmed. That's exactly what it is, man. Yeah. It's programming, man.
Yeah, that's where we've come, unfortunately, because like, even think about when this same style of music was out and wasn't at the forefront. I believe everybody sitting at this table had parents that policed what we listened to.
Yeah.
Regardless of if it was popular or not, they was like, nah, you can't listen to that. This ain't that. You know what I'm saying? But it advanced to everything being acceptable. So now parents identify with their children by liking the same exact things as them. So that creates a whole nother fold and, you know what I'm saying, pretty much shockwave in the system, because now my parents deem it acceptable. I'm going to put it on my kids too.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain stuff that I would never listen to around my daughter. You know what I'm saying? And people don't police themselves enough with the musicality that they're providing to their children's ears. And that was one of the pieces that I take away from this too, because that's long gone, essentially, because everybody wants to be cool.
Man, I revisited something today. This is funny we having this discussion, man, because I went back yesterday, just last night, and was listening to Master P Ice Cream Man, and I had a flashback. That was Master P Ice Cream Man was the album that had my dad. I listened to my dad because my dad was like the person that I actually sat and listened to music with, whatever. Like I listened to Doggy Style, The Chronic, all of that stuff with my dad. But listening to Masterpiece, the Ice Cream Man, was the album that had my dad like, this is too damn much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and he went and told my mom about it. And then my mom went and grabbed all the music. My mom was a holy roller, you know what I mean?
Right.
So she went and grabbed all my tapes and threw all my shit away.
Yeah, I've been through that exact same experience.
Yeah.
But like even with music though, if you think back, culturally, anything that is presented to the world from a black perspective is deemed demonic and not acceptable. Jazz was deemed as a, you know what I'm saying, musical platform that people did not want to listen to or engage in, and they didn't like it.
Rock and roll.
Now, when you listen, rock and roll as well. When you listen to jazz now, jazz is real safe, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I feel like everything that is given to the culture, people somehow manipulate a way to make it their own and form it in the presentation that they want it to be presented as, and then flip the script on it, essentially. So like this whole situation again with hip-hop is a corporate capitalistic situation, because all of the same rap music or hip-hop music still exists, but it's not the one that's at the forefront. It's not the most popular.
That's why I like to very specifically, I try to always delineate the difference between like rap music and hip hop.
Yeah.
Is because like, I mean, and I know that's not even 100% accurate, you know what I mean? But there has to be something that is different between the culture and what exists within it and all the great things that exist that it still embodies to this day. And this corporate just rap culture of whatever it is. Because I mean, to some extent, I guess I would say I would agree with Tricia Rose and Mark Anthony from the perspective of if they're only looking at it maybe from just popular rap music, maybe. But you can't like preface the question with saying like Public Enemy and Mos Def and Andre 3000 and then
stop
and not talk about Vince Staples or Kendrick Lamar or stuff like this.
Yeah,
because there are other options that are being presented.
But again, these aren't real hip hop fans, so to speak.
No, because we can't say that. They just aged out.
They just aged out a certain.
Well, not even necessarily aged out, because I know people that are our age and younger who rely on the popular base of music to drive them. They don't go looking for the other side of hip hop that still exists. They don't even know that it's out there because they don't look for it.
Is that a problem with this discourse then? Like, is there anything wrong with the older generation speaking on never imagining the genre becoming a dominant force of global capitalism as it has in this type of way?
Yes, because we can always look at what was going on when we were really entrenched in the culture with a certain level of kind of rose-colored glasses. Like, yes, we had Public Enemy and X-Clan, and then... but we had some bullshit then too. You know, we had some things that were not just counterculture, but counter counterproductive. There was music that was counterproductive. That's what I'll call it, the counterculture that was counterproductive.
Hell, Too Short at that time was that.
But even Too Short had songs like "Money in the Ghetto" or "In the Ghetto." He gave you some. He gave you some political records. I even say that with, when you listen to The Chronic, yes, it's smoking weed and bitches ain't shit, but right in the middle, all of a sudden, it turns into this political hip hop record with, some messages that are really kind of counterculture, but not particularly counterproductive.
Which is, but exactly, that's again why I always hold the frame of mind that with everything you just said, it's a reflection of everything else. It's not the other way around.
And just to kind of get back to the original question, I do still think that hip hop does more good than it does harm. Even with my criticisms, but my criticisms, I would always say, come from a place of love.
Sure.
There are other people that criticize hip hop. When you get the Bill O'Reillys and people like they're mad at because there's no more white flight because of hip hop. It used to be you could move your children away from black influence by just, driving them as far away from the inner city as possible. You can't do that anymore.
Not because we coming.
That too. Either we going to be out there or the internet and TV is going to make sure that your kids see certain images and hear certain things.
That's what it is.
So I still think that hip hop does more good than it does harm, if not because I also see what is not pushed. Like there are a lot of people who, because Public Enemy is or whoever, they always like to use Public Enemy. I hate that. And I was like, if you love
Public Enemy as a litmus too.
But the thing is, if you love Public Enemy so much, why didn't you listen to the album they put out last year?
At the end of the day, it's entertainment. Of course, you can get some knowledge from it, but it's entertainment. So like, if we're deeming hip hop as something that's so bad, and you got TV shows that are specialized in serial killing, and of course, people that are writing movies and things of that nature, it's all in the same realm. So why isn't that same attention put on that specific genre of entertainment?
Video games.
Yeah, all of that.
Stuff,
I mean, kids play Call of Duty and shoot each other in the face every single day.
Grand Theft Auto is one of the biggest games of all time.
Yes, it's a $1 billion game.
Yeah.
It's a $1 billion game, and you can get into all kind of free on Grand Theft Auto, and everybody's going to buy for the kids.
Shit.
And they're not gonna deem it to a point where this is destroying society or we're like this because of this video game. No, they're not going to do that. I guarantee you more people will consume that video game than listen to the popular hip hop that's on the radio.
Not even that. It don't even have to be as violent as Grand Theft Auto. What's the name of that game that Travis Scott was in? That's Fortnite. You run around shooting people on Fortnite. It's just a little bit more kiddie and cartoonish and doing it, but it's the equivalent. Like, man, we grew up on violence.
Yeah,
man.
You know what I mean? Like,
we had water guns that looked like real guns.
Not even
we
that.
grew up in that era.
Like Looney Tunes.
Sure.
Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, all
Acme
of that
Factory was pumping the desert full of guns and ammo and dynamite.
All of that was violent. And even The Simpsons, I thought it was funny at the time, but they were poking fun of Tom and Jerry
with the itchy and scratchy.
Yeah, you know what I mean, and how violent it was, and they just made it over the top.
Yeah.
But
Terrence and Phillip,
it was exactly the same thing, man.
Hey, look, man, I've consumed all of this.
Yes,
all of it.
And I turned out
and probably more, some really degenerate things. And I don't know. I think I'm a pretty decent person.
Well,
over
you were reared right, and that boils down to it too. It goes back to the original thing of parents actually policing what you were doing. My parents didn't necessarily agree with the things that I was consuming, but at the same time, they were still parenting.
Yeah.
So I always had in my mind, okay, I might be sneaking to consume some of this stuff, but I'm not going to let it consume me.
Right.
Essentially, I know this is just me being entertained, me knowing that if I ever step out of line and try to be on any of this bullshit, that I'm gonna get checked.
Yep.
So it's a matter of not letting the product consume you and just being someone that can actually
consumer
consume. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you can't stop the consumption train. You can't stop the corporate train. It's gonna keep going.
Yes.
No matter what, you just have to react to it, and that's what.
Yeah, I mean,
we have to do now.
And I understand when people see the commercialism and it seems like a bit much, but look, remember how people were really on MC Hammer's head because he had Taco Bell and British Knights and all this, but now like every rapper out there is trying to have their own
product.
He literally laid a blueprint.
He laid a blueprint. And I understand where like if you come from a certain era, like it still bothers you, but at the same time, like even I've been critical of certain rappers and the moves they make, but then there's part of me who's like, look, if Sexy Red has to do this bullshit so her children don't have to grow up in a world of ghetto life and to where that cycle is broken, there's part of me that has to see that as positive, because it's like, okay, and it's a weird kind of thing to where like, okay, these rappers put out these images and this mindset but then they have the money to send their children to private schools to where they don't have to be influenced in the same way.
Absolutely.
It's not fully inconsequential, but the material conditions that people live in are way more consequential than the music that they're listening to.
Yeah, you could take all this off the radio, but if you are still in a situation where there isn't proper health care, people are still having to deal with food deserts, and there's a situation to where, okay, these school books that we have, like they're just passing kids on to the next grade because they don't have the resources to make sure they're properly educated. Like you could turn off the radio, you could turn off all the YouTube,
movies, all the
movies and all the video games, and that's not going to make a difference if you were not willing to invest in community and in the future, which is our children.
I mean, we have kids that grow up in a household that have not heard one single hip hop song, but daddy's knocking mommy upside the head every night. On
and then you're like,
violence type of.
Then you're like, I don't know where this violence comes from.
So what are we blaming that on?
Yep.
Rascal Flats.
Yeah. You are now listening or watching the New Old Heads podcast. Our official 1-hour episode is released every Saturday at noon Eastern, where we share our exclusive uncut 2-hour episode to our YouTube members and Patreon members early every Wednesday. The show is brought to you by Coleman Dental, Indie City and Vinyl, Decademics, and Bringing Down the Band. And most importantly, you. You can support the show directly by becoming a member at patreon.com/newoldheads, where we embrace the new, respect the old, and remain ahead. Prof is a rapper from Minneapolis, I believe. I think he's on that flyer over there. That Murs and Prof, they went on tour together for the Paid Dues tour. They were. Anyways, they came here. We were a part of that. We promoted it actually, but Prof was removed from Billboard, potentially because he's independent. His new album, I believe, is called Good Time Boy. Sold 30,000 independent physical copies. Only to be disqualified by Billboard over hidden mid-campaign rule changes, apparently. At least that's what he says. So let's check this out, and then we'll talk about it a little bit further.
Kind of sounds like the same thing happened in Lil Russell.
Yeah, we talk. Yeah,
we have been disqualified from the Billboard charts.
Yeah,
so I spent a lot of time on the phone with good people, perplexed business dudes, managers, all apologizing to me, telling me in their 20 years in the business of releasing records the exact same way, they've never seen this. The truth is, the only reason this happened is because I'm independent and we sold so many physical copies of Good Time Boy. So the Billboard charts have a certain set of ever-changing rules that you have to abide by if you want to be on their chart. It costs $30,000 a year to even see these rules. They're not public. And these rules change all the time. One rule changed in the middle of my campaign. One rule we got disqualified for, we sold CDs in a bundle rather than a add-on. Sick, bro, sick. This wasn't no buy a piece of merch, get a free record attached along to it. Nah, we sold every single album standalone purely off the merit and the quality of the record. And y'all bought it that way. I've released records like this, Horse, Powderhorn Suites, they charted exactly, I released them exactly the same. They charted on the Billboard charts just fine. Other distribution companies I've talked to said they've been releasing records exactly like I have for decades and have never seen anything like this. So what y'all are witnessing is a 100% targeted response to y'all buying so many physical albums. The good news is this. So whether they like it or not, or the Billboard chart says it happened, bitch, we sold over 30,000 copies. And number two, this has been a reminder of why I chose independence. Yes, like I wanted that world championship, you know what I'm saying, #1 rap record in the world, to beat them at their own game. I chose to work for you. And if you've made it this far, like that's what it boils down to for me right now, is being grateful for you.
Hey man, shout out to him.
Yeah, props.
Shouts to Prof. So
I've met him too. Yeah.
He's one of those artists that the first time I saw him, I was like, he's kind of goofy. But he drops some really fun, enjoyable records, and he's got some real shit too. So I like his stuff. If Billboard alters rules mid-release to block Prof's 30,000 independent sales, are the charts officially rigged for major labels? How do you look at this?
It's been like that.
Yeah.
The profit, they're going to rig it for the people who are willing to play the game and who pay the fee to play the game. Like I said, we've seen the same thing with La Russell.
I don't remember what happened with La Russell. What happened there? Right.
Expressing he wanted to meet a goal that had something to do with
That's right.
influencing people to buy it because of that goal he was trying to meet.
And
Go ahead.
Didn't Tyler and Khaled get into it or something about bundles?
Tyler and
Nicki
Khaled
was
got
mad.
Tyler
about
and
that.
Khaled got into it because Khaled said that Tyler
Or was
makes
it Travis?
mysterious music.
No, it was Travis Scott, because he came out like the same time as Nicki Minaj.
Yeah,
and like
he sold more because he was actually selling them bundles, like it came with a T-shirt.
Yeah, and that
And she
Kylie
was
was helping promote it.
Yeah,
And he was trying to say that was funny business because Kylie is this social figure and she's helping promote it and things of that nature. But yeah, go ahead, Jay. My bad.
no, I and the thing is, I remember the first time something like this happened was I want to say it was Prince and Musicology. Like basically, you know, every time for everybody who bought a ticket,
they
got a
the
CD.
album. Yep.
You know, and so that pushed him to the top of the Billboard. And, you know, and after that, like there's always got to be a change because there are new rules. Like I remember Jay-Z used to, you know, when he was on
Samsung.
it was the whole Samsung thing. And then it was, you know, he did the whole thing.
U2. Everybody had that U2 album.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a nasty business. But I mean, but if you had a Samsung, you might have thought the same thing about getting a Jay-Z album sent straight to your phone. You know, and then like when 444 came out, remember you had to have Tidal to listen to 444.
I'm okay with that.
Stream it. Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and I didn't have to look at, and that's how I wanted with Tidal.
Because if anything else, that's restrictive.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing really is people who, you know, are not playing the game, and there's still some people who are trying to hold on to their ability to gatekeep, and that's what Billboard is.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not like he didn't get the money for the 30,000 just because they're not counting it. You know, but at the same time, if like people can have certain movements and it influence their charts, then it's going to, you know, because there used to be more places where you could, you know, see the how records were doing. You know, there used to be, you know, Cashbox was as much of an influencer as Billboard. You know, and most people don't even know what Cashbox is at this point. So I don't know. I'm just one of those people that like, hey man, you did the work. You are seeing the profit. Just because it's not on their particular platform, that doesn't mean that you didn't sell those 30,000 and people didn't believe in your music, because you have to believe in somebody's music to buy their physical copy of anything.
For sure. And he kind of said that at the end there.
Yeah.
With charting rules hidden behind like a 30K paywall, which this is the first that I've heard of this. Does this mean anything towards how us as hip hop commentators and things of that nature treat Billboard as some sort of legitimate metric?
Yeah, I would say I want to kind of pivot back to Prof selling 30,000 copies on his own.
Okay.
That trumps whatever Billboard is going to give to you. So props to him for selling 30,000 copies.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
If your
It's 2
goal,
million, 20 million streams or something.
yes, that's crazy.
Like, yeah.
If your end goal or your point is to try to get the accolades, I understand that leaving a sour taste in your mouth. But you being able to sell 30,000 physical copies or digital copies of your album in today's day and era, being the type of artist that you are, that's a win in itself.
Absolutely.
So
Lizzo would have been happy with that.
come on, man. So Billboard can really kiss my ass at that point.
Yeah.
And then in the same sentence, if you've sold 30,000 copies, you take $1 from each one of those copies that you sold. If you want to get those accolades, go ahead and drop that $30,000 to be recognized if that's what you want.
Sure.
At the end of the day, I don't think it really matters, especially to his fans. His fan base doesn't care about him being recognized by Billboard. Now, if him wanting to grow his fan base, yeah, I understand that. You want to get that Billboard look in order to do that. But back to having to pay $30,000. Go ahead.
But with that, it's not pay $30,000 to be on Billboard. It's pay $30,000
for the access to the
access
rules.
to see what the rules are. Apparently,
Oh, just to see the rules. Yeah,
that's the part that
You're
I
correct.
was.
Yeah.
That I was.
Yeah, that is
news.
a little
That's
strange
news to me.
Yeah,
so.
that's strange for.
And I don't know what that means.
That pretty much just means that you're policing.
I mean,
the
I know that
situation.
much. I guess I don't. Why would there?
Why would they wanna
there be
do
a
it?
monetary value or like associated with this? That's the part I just don't understand.
Because it can be.
Yeah.
Is there a monopoly? At the end of the day, people look to Billboard for validation.
Yeah.
So if we're the only or one of the only of like what 3 proprietary situations that you deem to look at as far as clout, so to speak, then yeah, they're gonna put a price tag on that. So
That's
I
just so
it's
foul.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. But you know, they can get away with it. So at the end of the day, hey man, them
The rules are
and-
whatever I say they are.
Yeah,
Yep.
keep selling out the trunk if that's what you got to do, man.
I remember years ago, I when I sat down with my Creative to Creative series, I sat and talked with Skip, and we've got a few records coming that we've been working on and whatnot. But like, I remember when I was interviewing him, I asked him what one of his bigger goals was for the project he's working on. He's like, man, I want to chart on Billboard. He's like, I want to get up there, and I feel like it's kind of in the same type of way as like a Grammy type of a way. You know, sometimes you just want that thing, but realistically, like, it's one of those things that I really wish artists would stop chasing, because I don't think there's really any value to it outside of just that inherent just, oh, I can check this off the list type thing. You know what I mean?
Listen, chase a worldwide fan base.
Yeah, man.
If I can reach you on any continent, I could care less what a Billboard got to say about me, because I can still go out and reach my people, and people here might still not know who I am, but I'm overseas getting money and flexing my craft and doing what I love because they appreciate what I'm doing, versus a Billboard who, again, it boils down to being a corporate entity, is going to put certain push on certain artists because it makes them look better.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, man, your fan base and your circle who you create is worth a lot more than wanting to be on Billboard or any chart for that matter.
Yeah.
Because quite honestly, have any of you ever picked up a Billboard magazine?
Never.
Not
Okay.
once. I have no plans to. Never. I've always, even when we've talked about numbers on the show, I mean, you know, I've always just like, who cares?
Yeah. The
It's
only
just
reason
like,
I have is because
obviously I get it.
Yeah, I used to read the trades because they came to the radio station for free. I read that and BRE and whatever
And
else would come to.
But that's like super niche.
But yeah, exactly.
You know,
and quite honestly, like, if I like a song, I don't care what it's doing on Billboard. I've never been like, oh, well, I really like it more now that it's, you know, Olivia Dean. I don't like her anymore now that now she's got, you know, she stayed in the Billboard top 20 all this time. It's not like that makes me like her more and hope that she comes to Indianapolis so I can buy a ticket to see her.
I have another random. Go ahead.
I was about to say, there was one list that I used to always go to growing up, and that was the back of Jet magazine.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that meant something to me.
Yeah, like,
I was gonna say the list that Jay Moore used to send out pre-COVID with a list of songs was very helpful to DJs
it
out
was.
here. And I would use his list, and like say I had to go DJ a top 40 event. I don't with top 40s.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time I would use Billboard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is if I needed
Very
a top 40 type of situation. I was hired specifically for that. and that's the only reason I'm going to use it. But yeah, Jay Moore's list was on point.
Yeah.
If you wanted to get it in the club and have a little mixture of shit, he was going to give you what you wanted. So shout out to him.
And that makes sense for that situation. That is a very particular 2 reasons it makes sense. DJing to understand what a general consensus of a top 40 generalized party or corporate event or whatever versus somebody who can provide that. Like, that makes sense. But got another interesting question with this too. Does this potential disqualification, this conversation we have, does it prove that major labels are terrified of independent artists who figure out how to beat them?
Yeah. I mean,
and you know, like,
especially if you don't want to partner with them.
I guess even further than that, you know, like, I mean, I feel like they are. I feel like they try to suppress that anyways. That's why the monopolization kind of exists anyways, and why they try to, you know, have their hands in streaming and Billboard and the charts and all this other stuff as well. But I don't know. Is there a world where the mainstream just loses its grasp?
No. Too much money behind it. It goes back to our first point when we were talking about the corporatization of hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, it's just the corporatization of music in general. The machine. You know what I mean?
What if? Can I do a thought experiment?
Okay.
Mind by longevity.
What would it take for that to actually happen? Let's say we're on the committee of independent artists that are trying to corporate, right? And they're paying us $60,000 a year to do that. What do we do to, or is there anything that we can do to bring independent musicians kind of in the same type of light?
I think ultimately whatever you create is going to be bastardized. Just like, I mean, because blogs was it at one point in time. Radio was it at one point in time. Playlist was it at one point in time. Streaming, you know what I mean? So it's anytime you get something that starts off new, they're going to find a way to creep in and tear it up.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the thing with not wanting to count Prof's records, like that could potentially embarrass one of Billboard's corporate partners. Like, say Prof, you know, like comes out the same time as Lizzo. They put all this money behind Lizzo and her record flops, and you have Prof sell 30,000 records and Lizzo sell 3,000, and it's like, well, what the hell happened?
How much money did they really put behind Lizzo's last project, though?
I don't know, but she's still working in the major label structure.
She had to show up at Versus in order to just put a face to a project, and everybody knows her face. But I mean, listen, these corporations can rewrite the rules or write the rules however they want to do it or seem fit to fill their pockets, but they can't write these songs that get the people going regardless, and that create this, you know what I'm saying, community of people that are going to consume this product with or without you.
That's not true, though.
Why is it not true?
Because ultimately they're going to get rid of the artist altogether. You know what I mean?
I mean, when you talk about AI, yeah, that's the goal at the end of the day. But
because I keep seeing this Joy Rhodes artist.
Is that the Christian?
Robot. Not an artist.
No, it's
a robot.
Yeah, it's an AI. It's an AI artist, man.
I've been seeing this AI artist that's a Christian artist popping up, and the song is actually lit, and it's AI.
Robot.
Yeah, it's a robot.
Robot.
Is so I feel that way. I keep seeing Joy Rhodes everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On Instagram or whatever, and people talking about how great the music is.
Right.
But I think that is like a litmus test right now that you're getting for what's to come in the future. Yeah.
If we let it happen.
Because you even have artists now using AI tools, you know what I mean? So
100%.
Yeah.
But what I mean by they can rewrite the rules, but they can't write the songs, is they can't fake influence.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm able to write this music and sell this music on my own, regardless of what rules you rewrote because you don't want to include me,
mm-hmm.
I am still selling and influencing and creating a buzz on my own that is unique to myself.
Yeah.
So your award doesn't mean shit, or you recognizing me doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
Unless that's what I'm aiming to get at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think what I think about is it's two different games almost. It's like the first thing that kind of came to my mind when I brought this up was Citizens United, the Citizen United case, where it's the whole thing about getting big money out of politics that got overturned back in like 2010. But that allowed essentially corporations and labor unions and wealthy individuals to spend whatever they wanted to on political stuff, right? And so that's how we've kind of gotten to the place we are right now, to where like our politics are kind of bought and sold. But if you remove that and you restrict that so certain money can't go into it, what if the awards, what if you just like, I don't know, maybe there's something along those lines to where like you can just strip the amount of influence that like a label can have or on these different entities, because it feels like a monopoly. It almost feels like you got to break all these pieces apart, because you know, like Spotify can't like create the AI artists and then sell them streaming on their platform and then get the Billboard charts that they're also connected with, and then also, you know, like it's just like it's incest with itself in a way. You know?
No, I see what you're saying.
But it kind of is. And so I feel like, but I say all that to say it feels like it's two completely different games. Like you can't win at capitalism if you're trying to go against capitalism.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like maybe
it doesn't cancel itself out.
Maybe we have to literally burn the buildings down, set them on fire, blow them up with bombs.
Make sure you go in with the guns and ammo and come out with the guns and ammo. Don't
get some
Acme,
get some Acme dynamite.
Yeah. Acme dynamite, all this stuff. You know, you can go in with blanks if you want, you know, but maybe we need to burn the record label buildings to the ground. This is all allegedly. This is not real.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like,
it's part of CERN.
Yeah. I mean, I say that, but I'm joking, but at the same time, not maybe like literally burning the buildings down, but it's almost like we have to like reject it and just kind of like
take the power back, essentially. So
how about we just let the major corporations have the AI music, and then everybody else just goes and does their own thing?
Or somebody just do some real revolutionary shit. Like if you've already paid $30,000 to get the rules, go ahead and put them on the internet.
Yeah.
So we all know the rules.
Yeah, but then you're still playing within the system.
Hey man, there was a movie called
Get Rid
The
of the
Spook
System.
That Sat by the Door.
But you can't get rid of the system.
Who had to get in the system to infiltrate the system.
But not to destroy it.
Well, that was no.
Only to change it.
He was destroying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hired gang members from Chicago.
Yeah,
that's true.
Sometimes you got to be a part of the system to destroy the system.
Maybe,
the disease works from the inside.
Fair enough. It's been too long since I've seen the movie, but yes. But I agree with that sentiment. I'll say, like you maybe some operatives on the inside, but the operatives are also going to be heavily influenced by
this is true.
That thing called money.
Yeah. 100%.
Anyways, thanks for playing along with me there.
Or we could just create a whole nother system of things, a ranking system that would include a prof and also include the other artists that Billboard wants to hype up, but include it on an even playing field.
I don't think that can exist though.
Yeah, I think
with the PAC money. You know what I mean? Like it can't exist that way.
Yeah, because it's going to take those artists putting the same amount of weight in this new product as opposed to what Billboard is doing.
Yeah, because they may not. If I come up with Streamboard or whatever, and Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Olivia they don't care nothing about Streamboard. Yep. And so they're like, whenever it comes out and they have the #1 record on there, they'll be like, hey, but what did I get on Billboard?
It's like the BET Awards. Like, artists don't show up to that. They'll just mail that in. But if the Grammys come up, they're going to be there for
they'll
that.
make sure they'll change. No, they'll change their tour schedule around the Grammys to make sure they're there.
I don't know. To close it up, I don't know why we play a rigged game, and I don't think that we should expect any results. And shouts to Prof for like acknowledging that at the end and acknowledging the people that actually spent time and money with him. I think he's done a spectacular job. I've been following him for over a decade, and so it's cool to see what he's built on his own.
Yeah,
And,
Shout out to him, man. Like,
get him man his flowers at the end of the day, because hey, you did something that a lot of people can't do.
There's a viral clip from Freddie G Gaming on TikTok who argued that billion-dollar franchises are intentionally moving away from hip-hop-centric players to enforce corporate discipline. We're heavy on the corporate today.
But we do.
I know, right?
If you're nice, it don't matter what you do. There. I went to college. I ain't graduated high school. Like, if you nice, you can just do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying?
That attitude that you guys see right there is exactly what I'm talking about when I say the NBA is about to shift away from the hip-hop-centric player. You see the Lakers loading up with white guys. You're going to see it more. Both of the guys talking are rappers. One of the guys says, you don't have to be disciplined to be in the NBA. And then Cameron says, hey, if you're nice enough, you can do whatever you want. You got to think about this. What billion-dollar organization wants that attitude in mass on its team? None. Ever since Allen Iverson got in the league, that's what they've been dealing with. Now they don't want that anymore, and they're seeing that their fans, who are majority white, at least the fans that are going to go to the games and buy the memorabilia and everything like that, the fans that actually make them money don't want that. They're tired of it. So they are moving away from it. They are moving toward a product that they can control, that is disciplined, and that they can put out at an international level. Do you think that these NBA owners aren't watching what's going on with the World Cup? They want to do with the NBA what the World Cup is doing, but they want to do it year after year. They want to be able to take this to Europe. They want to be able to take it to Asia, but they can't do that if you have these hip-hop centric people thinking and acting like this. So when I tell you that they're shifting away from majority black teams, trust me, they are. It's all about money at the end of the day.
Not at all.
I don't agree with this at all.
Parts
go
of
ahead
it.
and do your question real quick.
Just give me your thoughts.
Yeah.
Parts of it. I agree with parts of it. So, yes, they are looking at more internationally marketable players.
Yes.
But hip hop players are internationally marketable players.
100%.
Anthony Edwards is selling just as much as shoes as Luka not even selling those damn shoes. You know what I mean? Is Luka more internationally marketable to a certain segment of the world?
Possibly.
Potentially. But Luka do whatever the hell he want to.
Yes.
And that's why he ended up in LA instead of Dallas. You know what I mean? So
always playing himself into shape.
Exactly. So this is not just a quote unquote hip hop thing. It's a league issue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shit. That's why now, there's some truth to it, because I think that's why LaMelo is no longer in Charlotte. And that's why they sent him to Minnesota to be with Edwards. You know what I mean?
But guess who is loving that right now? The owners of that team. So that kind of condemns exactly what he just said. They have two stars on their team that identify the way that he's proposing that the NBA doesn't want to go to. I don't think
they're gonna sell a lot of tickets.
They're gonna sell a lot of tickets because it's going to be very entertaining, whether it's on the court or off the court. Whatever hip hop influence has done for the NBA is never going away. There's nothing you can do about that.
So you don't think that the NBA's push for international talent proves corporate owners are actively trying to erase hip hop from the basketball culture?
No, I think they want to embrace both of them. Because I mean, at the end of the day, hip hop culture and the influence that they've invoked on the league and the worldwide perception of them is going to continue to go, regardless of who they decide, or they decide they want to put the team over here or over there. It's still going to be part of it. I mean, the people that don't make it to the NBA that are still a part of the culture still end up playing overseas on these teams and sell the tickets.
And truth be told, no matter what happens with those international stars, when they come over here to the States, hip hop is going to swallow them up. You know what I mean? Like, Luka might not have the tats and stuff that some of these other players get. He might not be doing that, but is hip hop affecting him in a certain way? Like the players around him, is he doing some of the same things that some of these players do? Is he going out to these places and listening to the same music as some of these players? Of course, they all listen to the same shit in the locker room.
But that still doesn't necessarily mean that the corporate owners might not be pushing towards that, though, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, because they're pushing toward the end goal, which is making money.
Yeah,
and I think my point is, regardless of what the face or what the culture shift, so to speak, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. They don't care. And these countries don't care either, because I literally had a conversation with somebody today about how certain music in the country where they were at, they didn't understand any of it, but they really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And it made them move a certain way, and it influenced them to like this individual. That's never going to stop, regardless of what form of faction of music that's out there. If they decide that they don't want to play hip hop music at the All-Star games and things of that nature, they're going to get some pushback. But at the end of the day, it's all about the product. Who cares about what you're hearing and the so-called influence that you think is taking over? That influence isn't going anywhere.
What do you think, Jay?
I think this is something that has been exacerbated because we're looking at the LA Lakers and seeing their
cosplay as the Celtics.
Just think about the entire time.
It's our time to shine.
Yeah. Just think about the entire time you've
We're
been
taking the NBA
watching
back.
basketball. And how many times have you seen a bunch of white players on the LA Lakers? It just hasn't been a thing. Like, there's always been a Mark Madsen or Kurt Rambis here and there, but you're used to that being in very athletic black team.
Yeah,
Unless
Shaq,
it was the
Kareem,
50s.
You know,
Kobe, LeBron,
so
Magic.
you just have to think about. So, yes, we're looking at the LA the supposed whitening of the LA Lakers. Hell, they even got rid of Rui Hachimura, and he's half Japanese.
He's still in LA though. He
Signed
went to
with
the
Clippers.
Clippers.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's part of the reason, like, maybe that's where this comes from. But when you look at the rest of the league, they're still moving around these African American or African players, depending on you know what's going on,
Or
you
the
know,
Serbs.
Yeah, the biggest trade we've been talking about, if you are moving within those NBA circles, is Jaylen Brown going to the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah.
And so he's going to be playing with Maxey. He's going to be playing with Embiid. So, I mean,
BJ.
do you just automatically edge come?
Oh, man.
Do you just automatically they got a squad?
Is
Like, when you just think about hip hop, they just automatically think black.
Jaylen Brown Muslim?
No, I
No,
don't.
he's just a very smart individual.
just-
No, I know that
Yeah.
part. I know that much. But the culture
You talking
of
about
Philly,
Philadelphia?
Yeah.
No, I don't know if he gonna get the Philly beard. You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
But
he ain't
He already
gonna-
got it.
I don't know.
I don't know about that. He ain't got a freeway beard. But I mean, the Snow Time Lakers is an experiment.
Snow time.
I don't hold up. This is happenstance.
Yeah.
Walker Kessler just happens to be one of the best centers. He happened to be better than Jalen Duren.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to sign AR-15. They're going to, of course, keep Luka. They got that dude from Toronto who's actually a really good role player.
They got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar too that played at I-State.
Yeah, but he's going to be a second team two-way player center. He probably won't even make the
He probably not. Yeah, he's probably not gonna make the active roster.
He didn't even get drafted, did he? I don't think he got
No,
drafted.
he just got signed to the
Yeah.
Lakers.
You know, like it's just a lot of hoopla around.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that these people happen to be white,
Yeah.
and that's all it is. And
Yeah, I
you
don't
know,
really.
Yeah.
I really
I
think.
feel like it's been blown out of proportion.
Yeah,
Pretty crazy.
me too. That's what I think, because like when you look at the rest of the NBA and how they're moving those pieces around, like I said, and I don't even think of certain players, even who are Black American, as hip hop. Really,
No.
they just
Mitchell Robinson. I mean, Miles Turner. I mean,
all right,
they're country music guys.
Yeah, you look at how they move.
Mitchell Robinson's a MAGA.
Yeah, even when I see, like, shout out to Tyrese Halliburton, I'm not thinking hip hop when I see Tyrese
He's from
Halliburton.
Iowa. I mean, at the end of the day,
Well,
listen.
That's not
This isn't nothing new
Minnesota,
that has happened in the NBA.
Wisconsin. Sorry.
Yeah, even old school Utah Jazz. Of course, you had Karl Malone and maybe one other player, but 90% of the
Russell.
team was white. Celtics were 90% white. At the end of the day, who cares?
Well,
like,
I mean,
this doesn't. What I'm saying by this is, whatever one team decides to do to move forward in their quest for a championship has no bearing on what every other owner and every other team is going to do in order to achieve the same success.
Try and get that
this
money.
Doesn't boil down to now all the teams are about to start trying to make their teams look a certain way because we want to invite these other teams into the league, because this owner could care less if Europe gets a team. That doesn't net him any more money. I mean, it might, because his team might go out there to play them, but at the end of the day, his net worth is his championship and the funds and, you know what I'm saying, sponsorships and things like that that comes with that. So that has nothing to do with the actual look of the team or what that team's influence is.
And it's only a big story because it is the Lakers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the Lakers, and he tried to compare something to the World Cup, and I'm like, that's once every 4 years, man.
And nothing is ever going to trump the World Cup. NBA is never going to trump that.
But they are trying. They are trying to be a little bit more worldwide. They are traveling to different countries. So, I mean, I feel like there's a little bit of merit from where he's kind of shaping it a little bit, you know. And I do think, being the corporation that the NBA is, that I do think that they do want international money.
They've been doing it since the 80s. That was David Stern's biggest thing back in the day, and that's why the Dream Team was a thing. You know what I mean? Like, we went to using pros instead of collegiate players, high school players, because they've been trying to globalize the game since the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. And had 2 teams in Canada?
Yeah. But I mean, but even with, you know, with just one team in Canada now, because they
just the Raptors,
Vancouver.
You got to look at like the rosters. The NBA has already reached an international situation.
That's why we have so many international players now.
We have so many international players, you know, because, you know, the NBA had such an influence, you know, especially after that Dream Team situation where it's like, oh, we're going to, you know, where they knocked down a lot of walls where like Sabonis is, I was going to say his father, but like everybody remembers, like, but
DeMontis. DeMontis is his son.
What was his dad's name?
Arvydas
Sabonis. Like, he played his best years of basketball behind the Iron Curtain. He couldn't even come over here.
He came over here when he was 29.
Yeah,
he was a rookie.
Vlade Divac.
When it's been a slow. Drazen Petrovic.
Yes, who was a superstar.
Cold dog.
Yeah.
You know, and so like the international thing has been happening. And so when we have those players, like there are people who root for them, you know, it may be these small Eastern European countries, or maybe at this point, honestly, it's been, you know, Asia, you know, I mean, Rui Hachimura is half Japanese, so that's, but still that's enough for Japanese.
Jeremy Lin.
Hey, they got the one dude that play for the Blazers right now.
Oh, yeah.
The Israeli.
So, I mean, we're talking about the NBA already being an international game that has a reach that is more constant than, like, shout out to FIFA and what they've done with the World Cup. But once again, that's every 4 years. The NBA is an international reach every year starting in October.
Let's pivot the conversation a little bit. When Cameron argues that elite talent can do whatever they want, is that mindset entirely incompatible with today's corporate-driven arts and sports world?
Absolutely not.
Is it the wrong path?
No. I mean, because look, I remember
that's subjective.
Herm Edwards, he used to he coached the Kansas City Chiefs, he coached the Jets for a minute, coached in college. He said, you know,
he's a horrible coach.
He wasn't horrible.
Episode 493 of the New Old Heads podcast is in the books, and we appreciate you checking us out. Make sure you like and subscribe on all platforms. Also, indulge yourself in the $5 holla, which will be on Patreon and YouTube, and we will see you in the comments. Peace. Holla.
Bye.